Hey, welcome to the drive at 5, even though it's not 5 o'clock. So, driving to get my girls right now. I have about a half an hour drive, and usually the drive to pick up my girls, depending on where I am in the country, can be anywhere between an hour and a half to about half an hour. And I wanted to talk about relationships. It's hard sometimes. I have a really awesome girlfriend. Incredible. Honestly, the best person I've ever met in my life. Like, legit. I'm not just saying that because she's going to hear this, but for real. I don't think I've ever seen somebody so giving and, so loving to their kids and their family and to the people around them. I don't in my life, I don't think I've ever witnessed such a kind and beautiful person on the inside and the out, and I'm really, really, really privileged to be able to have somebody like that in my life. It's wild. I'm really lucky. She has 3 boys, and I have 2 girls, and she's also divorced, and I have known her for a while, about 7 years. So it was cool. Before we were dating, I had actually seen her in live action. I've seen her, be a mom, see her be a person, see her, seen her for who she is. You're probably all wondering, or some of you are maybe curious as to how we got together. Save that for another time if you're lucky. And yeah, relationships. So really lucky to have this person in my life, and we still fight. Our fights are different, though. Our fights are totally different than they would be than from what I had experienced before. We don't really yell. There's not much screaming happening there. It's more of an emotional, deep scream, like. But when we have misunderstandings, when we have disagreements, or it's not even a disagreement, when we just have our fights are more from not understanding each other and not really seeing each other from our own perspectives, and our fights stem from just not making enough of an effort to get over our own personal bullshit that's holding us back from making peace with one another. So we were in like a little tiff from yesterday, and I came over today and we had lunch, and within our discussion that we had, I agreed. I made all the actions that one would need to take in order to show somebody that they're that they're serious, that I'm serious about connecting, serious about what she's saying and validating, and not just about her, also about myself. And then I felt that I did everything properly, and then at the end, but we didn't really make up. I was like about to leave, and like it still didn't feel it like we really made up. At least to me, I felt it too, but I was kind of okay with that because I'm used to that sort of thing. I'm used to just shutting off my feelings and like walking away. You know what I mean? And she's not. And I was like, hey, are we okay? Like, no, we're not okay. What do you mean? Like, but I said all the right things. I did all the right things. I said and I did all the right things. We should be okay. Sometimes it's not. Everyone deals with things in different ways. you know. And so we sat for longer, and we kind of went over a few things again between us. And at some point there was like this like breaking point where my voice turned into this, not this authoritative voice, but it turned into like sort of a high pitched like yeah sort of voice. I think maybe to me that's pretty representative of vulnerability, of care and vulnerability from my part, at least in terms of that conversation. Like, because I felt it. I showed her that that my heart was in it, and I showed her that I was feeling something from that, and I find that interesting that after that point of actually having that feeling inside and then communicating it, that that she also received it. She said, now it seems to me that now I'm hearing that you are that you're there and that you really do care. And she's smart, right? Like, she's able to like tell the difference between me just saying it, right, and not feeling it inside, and then like the difference between me saying something and really feeling it inside. And it's not that I didn't mean it before. It's not that what I said before. It's not that I didn't mean it. I just wasn't feeling it inside. And that there was a separation between feeling it and saying it, right? And that separation she was able to detect relatively easily. And in my opinion, she really felt that it wasn't, that it wasn't authentic. Sometimes we say things and we don't really feel what we're saying. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and sometimes we need to ask ourselves: is it what I'm saying? Is it really true? Do I really believe in that? Is it something that I really connect to? Sometimes we just know that we're not in the vibe anymore. We're not feeling it anymore, and that's why. But when I said it, I did mean it. But I was just acting the act. Thankfully, a few minutes later, after sticking around and rehashing, again, that, I felt that I did connect to it on an emotional level, that, validating her. And she got it. It's the whole point of this. First off, it's my vlog. That's the point. Second off, I realized how incredible and what a source of, beauty and growth that this individual, has helped me embark on in my life. It's unreal. If it wasn't for her, none of this would be happening right now. None of my social media, madness, and none of me growing on social media would be happening at all. It was her strength and her lifting up and her helping me see me for who I am that really helped me get to this point. But it takes work, it takes work. Like, what do you mean by that? Well, I have to work on myself. Like, I come in with triggers. I got my own triggers, I got my own baggage that comes from my relationships before. Everybody has baggage. Everybody has triggers that come from their relationships before. Or some sort of trauma. Whatever it is, a person's experience, we all carry a level of baggage with us. A level of something. And a lot of us go through life and don't really deal with it. A lot of us just go ahead and we put it aside in the back of our brain, and we're like, okay, whatever, you're back there, I'm not going to deal with it. But it doesn't help. It doesn't help not dealing with it. Little example, I'm sure people here are familiar with Jordan Peterson. Okay? Jordan Peterson has an awesome podcast. Or maybe it was a SoundCloud. Maybe it was one of those SoundCloud clips, lessons. And Jordan Peterson talks about the story of Billy and the Dragon. And I'm going to retell this story a little bit over here because I think it's really, really pertinent.